Hello, everybody, and welcome to the demo on how to use these online calculators. These can be extremely helpful when you're figuring out future values of investments, if you want to look at loan payments and how much interest you pay, if you want to know how long it would take you to save a certain amount of money. There's great online calculators that you don't need a lot of math. You can just plug in what you know and it'll do the figuring for you. So I just wanted to show you this one. This is a compound interest calculator, just looking at savings. You can put in any amount you want and see what grows. So just as a play around with this, let's say I start with nothing. I'm going to put in $100 every month, and my interest rate, I'm going to put 6% because you learned in the investment unit that maybe you could buy mutual funds or invest your money. Interest rate, we'll put compound annually, yearly. Time horizon, well, we can start with, let's say, what if I invest $100 a month for, let's say, 10 years? How much money would that calculate out? So I'd have $16,000 after 10 years. So, and 4,000 of that is interest. Interest is essentially free money. So it's nice to see how much interest. So this is the compound interest part, the interest on interest, and how quickly it can grow. Let's try another calculation. Let's say I do that $100 a month, and let's say I do it for um, 10, let's go 15 years, just as another show of calculations. Again, that extra 5 years gives you 10 grand in interest and a $30,000 goal. So something as small as $100 a month, we might spend $100 a month on little things that don't matter or waste our money. And so this is a good way to check out what it actually looks like. If you don't do monthly, we could try doing yearly. So let's say once a year you set aside $1,500, or let's say $1,200. Then it's a or let's say a little bit more. Let's say $200 a month, which would be $2,400 a year. Maybe it's your tax return you get back. Once a year, you're going to set that back, and 6%. Let's go a little more aggressive. Let's say 8%. You're going to invest in a mutual fund, interest compounded yearly. So $2,400 for 15 years. That's $200 a month, 65,000. Just about half of that 65 is interest, $30,000 interest. And again, that's free money. And that's the fun part about investing, is you can really see investments grow. And so if I go back here, yeah, let's say, you can change it up if you invest every 2 weeks. You can change up your interest rate. Usually we say interest compounded monthly, yearly, not necessarily monthly. If you do it monthly, you'd have to change your interest rate to be smaller because you wouldn't get 8% a month. And then check out your time horizon if you want so many months. So let's say you're going to do 100, let's say $50 a month, and you want to know how much, and you're going to invest in 6%, and let's say for 5 years. So 60 months later, it's just $50 a month, $3,500. So something as small can really grow. And again, this $400 is your interest. Okay, so that's your interest calculator. This is one I suggest. There's a whole bunch out there. Try to find one that meets your needs, whether it's you're trying to find future value, which we are in this one. Sometimes people want to know how much time would it take me to grow an investment. You want to know times. You might find a different calculator that would do that for you. But this one's calculating future value of savings. The other calculator I wanted to show you is loans. Well, now we want to know, what about loans, and how much is it going to cost me? What's a loan payment going to be? And I'll just use an example. Let's say you're going to borrow $10,000 over 5 years. You're buying a car. Interest rate 5% is probably a little low. I'm going to put 8% in here. Might be a car loan payment. It's $200 a month, 202.15. So the total interest paid on top of the 10 is actually $2,100. So people think, well, that car only cost me 10,000 because I borrowed it. No, that car actually cost you 10,000. $12,128 because you have to add the interest as well. And so you can see, it's on a declining basis. So the most of your interest is paid at the beginning of the loan. And as your principal comes down, so does the interest that the bank charges you. Let's do a bigger loan. Let's say we want to do a $50,000 vehicle because some people think they need to do that. Well, your payment, you're looking at, let's drop the rate a little bit. Let's say 5.9, some special financing. You're still around $1,000 a month on that payment. And look at the interest paid, $7,700 over those 5 years. Now, some people say, well, I'm going to put it over 7 years. Now you have to be careful. That's where negative equity comes to play. And so, yeah, you've dropped your monthly payment from 900 and some to 700 some, but look at how much interest now I'm paying, $11,000 in interest versus what it was before, which was 7,700. So almost a $4,000 difference just for those 2 years. And I think that's the bigger story here is people don't want to pay that big $900 a month payment. They want the $50,000 vehicle, but they are not considering how expensive that cost actually is in interest, $11,000 and 2 more years. And by 2 more years on that vehicle, you got a pretty old vehicle and it might be depreciated down to nothing at that point either. And so you still owe money. Also, I just want to show you, let's say this is the situation. You've put that $50,000 loan over 7 years. I'm going to look at the schedule here. What happens if after 5 years, let's say we want to trade it off? I'm going to look at the schedule. After 5 years, this is after payment 59, which is 5 years of payments, you still owe $17,000 on that car. And so what if we only offer you 12,000 for that vehicle? You owe more than it's worth. So by paying less down, you're actually carrying that balance for a lot longer. It doesn't drop off here until you're 7. And so those are some things to really be careful of. Is be careful on the time frame that you pick the loan. Be careful how much you borrow, and always try and get your best interest rate. And best interest rate comes from having better credit. But sooner to pay it off, the better, right? Borrow for only things you need, not that you want. And being conservative, right? It's better to pay with cash. So can I save my money instead of borrowing? Because this loan cost, this total interest cost has to be part of your consideration when you're buying anything. So that's how to use two different loan calculator and an investment calculator. Hope that helps and you can do some financial planning for yourself. Thanks.